Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today, we're going to be breaking down the nickel cornerback position in the NFL draft class this year and the guys that I think the Steelers could consider at this really key position for this team. I mean, let's face it, Cam Sutton, Beanie Bishop Jr., Beanie had his moments, but Cam Sutton was absolutely awful. This was a big problem for the Steelers defense last year. Could they find their solution in the NFL draft? We're going to find out today. But before we get into it, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you want more draft target videos for other positions of need. If you want a wide receiver video, let me know. If you want a defensive tackle video, let me know. If we can get to 500 likes on today's show, we'll do another positional draft target video like this one later this week. So first up here, let's talk about why the Pittsburgh Steelers may draft a nickel player in this year's NFL draft class. Because right now, you look at kind of the way that they've addressed this position, what's kind of the options in-house. You have the UDFA out of West Virginia from last year, Beanie Bishop Jr., showed some good things, had made some big-time interceptions and really big-time moments, but was a little bit of a liability in coverage. Then you got Brandon Echols, who can play in the slot, but he's played more outside in his career, more of a backup level player, in my opinion. Then Deshaun Elliott, who was this team's strong safety last year, can also play in the slot, very versatile player, kind of a chess piece type of player throughout his career. So if you wanted to put him in the slot, you could certainly do that as well. And, I think that, the reason why Pittsburgh would take a nickel is kind of one of two reasons, or both. Number one, they don't believe in the in-house options. They think that Beanie is more of a backup level player. They want Echols to play more of a backup level role instead of a starting role, and they want Deshaun to play at strong safety. Or number two, they find someone who they feel like they can play day one and be a really good starter for them in this NFL draft. So let's start with my first tier of potential nickel defenders here for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this year's draft, which is difference makers. So these are guys that you potentially take in round one to be real difference makers in the middle of your defense. Guys like Cooper DeJean for the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys like Brian Branch for the Detroit Lions. These guys have been taken in round two, not round one, but you've seen the impact that they have had on their respective defenses. Both of these guys are considered some of the best chess piece type of players in the entire NFL so early into their NFL career. So getting a real impact nickel defender can really change your defense. And the Pittsburgh Steelers might be looking to be that next team in line to get a player like this. And lucky for them, I think they have two options, all right? Number one, Malaki Starks. We'll talk about him in a second here out of Georgia. And then Jahdae Barron out of Texas. The numbers on there, by the way, is where they rank on the consensus big board at the time of me recording this video. So we can take a look at Malaki Starks' profile here. I have a round one grade on Starks. And as you guys can see there, the pros category is absolutely stacked. All right, I love his ball skills for a safety. They're really, really good. He's got nickel flexibility, obviously. They had the Georgia coaching staff kind of asked their DBs to play all over the place, deep in the box, nickel, so he's very used to playing in the slot already. He's got incredible foot speed. He's a tight end eraser in man coverage. He's got good length for the position as well, so he can play the ball really, really well. The closing speed is excellent. He's a really good tackler out in space. I think he's got good zone instincts, and then he's really good in man coverage as well. Now, the cons are, I think that, because he's kind of taller and thinner, his ability to take on blocks in the box and be a true strong safety is a little bit limited. But as a nickel corner, as a potential Minkah Fitzpatrick replacement at free safety, I think this guy is just a good football player, all right? And that's kind of the way that you would describe Brian Branch or Cooper DeJean, is that Malaki Starks is just a damn good football player that reads the eyes of the quarterback very well, mans up against wide receivers and tight ends extremely well as well, and can play both deep and he can play in the slot. So you can even use him a little bit as a disguise piece as well. So if you want to have that Cooper DeJean or Brian Branch level impact player, I think Starks can absolutely provide that for your defense. And I really, really like his profile, guys. And the other guy that you could consider is Jahdae Barron out of Texas. Really like his long speed. He ran in the 4.3s at the Combine this year. Super physical corner, which is why I think a lot of people see him as kind of like a zone corner, but I actually think he's more of a press man corner. He's got really good press technique, really good ball skills, plays the ball really well, and he's a great tackler too. He brings a lot of physicality to the table, which I love. But I think that his acceleration and closing speed doesn't match the long speed. I think when you play him in off-zone coverage, his route squeeze and ability to close on the route is not what you necessarily look for. I think he likes to grab a lot. So if you're somebody that gets annoyed when Joey Porter Jr. grabs all the time, Jahdae Barron might not be your guy. And he does have shorter arms as well, which might affect his ability to play true outside corner in the National Football League. But I think that with his physicality, his ability to blow up screens, his ability to defend the run as well and almost be like another linebacker in the box for you playing from the slot, I think you could be a really good player from there, guys. And I think that, he certainly has the ability to maybe play outside later in his career, but I think he can be a true difference maker in the slot for the Pittsburgh Steelers if he makes it to you at number 21. So if this is a position you want to prioritize early in the NFL draft, I think Barron would be an excellent fit for what the Steelers want at this position. So let me know, who's the better nickel defender? Who's going to have the better career? Type MS for Malaki Starks or JB for Jahdae Barron. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Game Time. And while I'm talking about Game Time today, go ahead, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section and answer today's pinned comment. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And the NBA playoffs are just getting started. And if you want to experience the energy and the stakes of playoff basketball, you can get great seats at guaranteed low prices with our friends at Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, all from your phone, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. The Cleveland Cavaliers have locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year heading into the playoffs, and you can experience their playoff run in person in the weeks to come, and it's just over a 2-hour drive from Pittsburgh to get there. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS at CHATSPORTS, or it's right down there on the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So now that we got through kind of the difference-making type of nickels in this class, at least in my opinion, let's talk about the guys that are serviceable, the guys that are going to be able to be good players, in my opinion, in the slot that you can get in the mid-round of this year's NFL draft. We can start here with Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. Then you got Billy Bowman Jr. And by the way, all these numbers, again, are from the consensus big board. Denzel Burke out of Ohio State, Quincy Riley out of Louisville, and then Kobe Bryant out of the Kansas Jayhawks. So let's talk about these guys one at a time here. First, let's talk about Parrish. And I love Parrish's physicality. All right, he played mostly outside there at Kansas State last year, and he was one of the better parts of that Wildcat defense. You know, he's not necessarily the biggest guy in the world, but he does play very aggressively in man coverage. I think he's got decent zone instincts. But, you know, the thing that really stands out about Parrish is that he's a dog competitor, extremely physical. He's good against the run. He's going to put his face in the fan, even though, you know, he's a little bit smaller. But, you know, he's just a bulldog out there, man. And he's somebody that wants to be good, you know, wants to go out there and be physical, wants to be a team player. And that's just exactly the mentality that Mike Tomlin wants in his slot corner. So watch out for Parrish as a day 2 potential nickel corner. Then you got Bowman, Billy Bowman Jr. out of Oklahoma, who's a great cover player. So if you're looking for somebody that can kind of be the anti-Cam Sutton, where Sutton was so bad in coverage last year, you're not going to have that issue with Billy Bowman Jr. He was one of the standouts in one-on-one coverage at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama this year. And on film, he's also very, very good. Now, he's got big tackling issues, all right? And that's usually pretty big for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They want guys that can tackle. And Bowman has issues with that. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to fix the coverage issues that you had at the slot cornerback position last year, Bowman could certainly do that for you. Denzel Burke out of Ohio State, guy with a ton of experience in college, all right, national champion, all that different stuff. He's an unremarkable athlete, so his upside is severely limited. But he's a trustworthy player that, you know, you teach him what to do. He's going to be in the right spot. And you don't have to worry about him too much. Quincy Riley is kind of a volatile type of player where he's got long arms. He can play outside or inside. And he's got great ball skills, all right? So he's the type of guy that is going to give up some yards. He's not going to be phenomenal in coverage, especially early in his career, but kind of like Beanie Bishop Jr., he's going to make some big plays and some big interceptions in some big moments. So honestly, I don't love the Riley fit because you already got a guy like this in Beanie Bishop Jr. who's more volatile. But it's certainly another option to consider. And then somebody that, is coming out as an outside corner, not a nickel guy, but I think somebody that could really make a successful transition to the slot is Kobe Bryant out of Kansas. And I love the way this kid plays. He's a shit talker. He's super physical. And he loves to get in your face when he's beating you on a rep, man. I love that dog mentality that he brings to the table. But he's just so tiny. He's like 170 pounds. He doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table in terms of size, but if you put that dog mentality into the slot, I think that he's got sticky coverage ability. I think he's got quick feet, and I think that he could be a really good slot in this league if he commits to it. And I think that he has the exact mentality that head coach Mike Tomlin wants in that slot position. Another guy to keep your eye on here is Justin Wally out of Minnesota, who is expected to kind of be more of a slot type of player. He had a top 30 draft visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers actually today. He's currently slated on the consensus big board at 232nd overall. So watch out for Wally to be somebody to consider in round 6 or round 7 for the Pittsburgh Steelers here, if he's still there, if they haven't addressed this nickel cornerback position at that point in the draft. So another possibility here when it comes to addressing the secondary is that I think we all know the Steelers need to draft a player in the secondary, but they don't necessarily have to go nickel corner, right? They still have Beanie Bishop Jr. They have Brandon Echols that can play this position. And more, we're seeing 3 safety packages dominate the NFL. So is it possible that instead of a nickel corner, we see the Steelers take Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina or Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame and really embrace the 3 safety type of revolution that we're seeing around the National Football League? We've seen Mike Tomlin really dabble in these 3 safety packages before, especially when Brian Flores was still here, and we've seen Flores turn his 3 safety defense into one of the best in football. So maybe that's the plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and maybe they don't take a true nickel corner in this year's class. But what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Which position would you want to take in the secondary if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers this year? Type N if you want a true nickel slot cornerback, somebody that's a little bit undersized, or do you want somebody a little bit more safety-esque? Do you want a safety? Type S for safety. Could always put Deshaun Elliott as kind of like your pseudo slot player. Pretty darn good in the slot as well. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section, and that will be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. We talked about nickel corners today. We're going to be talking about more positions as we get closer and closer and closer to the NFL draft in just a few short days. So click that subscribe button right now to stay up to date on all the latest.